to my show. It's your girl, Amara La Negra, and you're listening to Exactly Amara, a production of iHeart. I always want to thank you guys for supporting me, for tuning in, for giving me those 5 stars. And if you haven't, please go give me 5 stars because my podcast is lit, period. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. And of course, go check us out on our YouTube channel and go to the search bar y escribe Exactly Amara or Amara La Negra, whatever makes you happy. Para que me chismosee la vida. So like that, you can see everything that I've been doing with my career, with my life, and obviously with my podcast, Exactly Amara. With that being said, ay, ¿qué otra cosa? Follow me on Instagram, Exactly Amara. Follow me there. You can DM me any ideas of the shows that you would like to hear, any comments, life experiences, whatever. If there was a topic you could relate to, listen, I literally do sit there and look at my DMs. I be taking like early in the morning. I think everybody does that. As soon as I wake up, I just stick to my phone and I start looking at my DMs, chismoseando la vida of other people. So I'll definitely look at your message if you hit me up on Exactly Amara. This is a very, ¿cómo te digo? It's somewhat of a taboo topic. Como que a lot of people don't want to talk about it. I guess social media has made it a little bit more open to talk about cosmetic surgery. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of my personal experience with cosmetic surgery. A lot of people have asked me in the past, have you gotten anything done? Mira, I'm going to tell you the truth. At one point in life, I felt, ¿cómo te digo? Subconscious because I had what I call, like the mom tits. But guess what? I got them done. Big deal. If you want to change something about yourself, you pay for it. So I had a lot of ass, a lot of hips, and then little tiny tits. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get my boobs done. I got them done. And then I was like, I actually didn't even want them that bad. Because you kind of go for the trend. You don't even know if you're doing it for yourself anymore or if you're doing it for society or if you're doing it to satisfy your partner. Or there's so many reasons why people get plastic surgery. And something too, men also get cosmetic surgery and we don't talk about it. Is it a taboo topic? Does it make you feel uncomfortable as men? Would you ever get it done? Would you ever tell anyone that you got it done? Is it a secret? I want to talk all about it. And that's why I brought my producer, friend, homeboy, and all that good stuff. Alex, what's popping?
What's going on? I can't wait to talk about what men get done.
Yo.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I heard that they also have fillers for your dingling. They got all types of things going on.
Whoa. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Well, yeah, today's gonna be a good topic. And you know what? The good thing, Amara, is that we have a very, very fun and special guest that has joined us today. Yes, he is a stand-up comedian who can be seen on Netflix's series Mr. Iglesias. He's also the host of Tacos con Todo, where he navigates the LA taco scene with celebrity guests. He is Jesus Trejo. What's up, Jesus? Welcome to the show.
What's up? Thank you for having me to talk about like surgeries and that kind of thing. Who better than weird-looking comedian Jesus Trejo? Yeah, if we're going to talk about cosmetic surgeries, there's so many. The first one that I would consider is fixing my teeth. People tell me my bottom teeth look like downtown LA from far away.
Oh my God, I'm dead. Okay, so why haven't you done it? And let's talk about it too. On some real shit though, let's talk about it because I know a lot of people that it's not that financially they don't have it. Like, it's not like they can do it. But there's people that fear going to the dentist. Como que me da un poquito de miedo. Like, I don't like people digging in my mouth. Or there's people que they don't like to go to, que sé yo, el oculista. I don't like people digging in my eye. So is that maybe one of the reasons or what is it?
I think you said it earlier where you go through a journey, you maybe get something done and then kind of have like, why did I do it? You're following a trend. It's like, I think initially for me, it was more financial. It's like, oh, I don't have the means. You start poking around on the internet and you start seeing these numbers being kicked around and you're like, oh man, I'm in no place right now. Like I'm not gonna pay for teeth right now when I could.
They get 10 bands in your teeth.
I need a new transmission. Yeah. Drop 10 bands. Later in life, it might sound like, oh, that's no problem. 10 bands, easy. But at a certain point in life, you're like, I don't know if I could do that. And then you start looking around. And then after a while, you're like, for me personally, it's like I wanted to get them done for so long. And then it was like, all right, I think I'm in a position to get them done. And I'm like, ¿sabes qué pa' qué? Si me quieren feo, bueno, si no, pues ni modo. I mean, this is who I am. Take me as I am. And
not for nothing. Let's talk about it. Some teeth are actually like signature looks. Like once you change your teeth, for example, like your face don't be looking the same. Hay algunas personas, not everybody, for example, I'm a big fan of Celia Cruz. Celia Cruz was one of the things that she was really famous for was that gap in the middle of her teeth. The day she would have changed
100%.
it, like your face would have been different.
Yeah, my signature, like my teeth, I think at this point are definitely a signature. That's how I know which sandwich is mine. Like if I walk away, I'm like, oh, this one's mine for sure. The one with the shark bite in it.
Oh my God. Okay, so wait, hold on. Your teeth. What? Give me 3 things you would want to change with cosmetic surgery or any body updates if you could. Your teeth. What else? 2 more things.
Another one that I'm excited to talk to you about is this whole like so I'm completely bald. You know what I mean? Okay. It's like so I started balding very early. Like I'd say like 19, 20, I started seeing signs. And then I had a comb over for a long time, which people are like, why did you have that? And I think for a guy, the hairline is a big deal. It's like a confidence thing.
Why? Oh my God, girls love bald men. Girls,
I know this now, but back then I was like, you know, I was holding on to this comb over. I looked like McCracken, you know, it's like with this comb over. Literally, Amara, no te miento, my comb over would go from my left ear and like I combed it and it reached my right ear, like the top of the ear. It was a one piece. I mean, it was, you know, those samples that you see like when like you go get like a hair dye and they give you like a little strand of hair.
Yeah.
Así se veía. It looked like I had a bunch of samples. Of,
my God.
It was bad.
I can't.
The top of my head looked like a barcode. It was bad, man. But back then, I thought it looked good. You know what I mean? It's like I accidentally like kneeled in front of a self-checkout and you know how they got the little scan thing?
And
the top of my head rang up as it scanned. The top of my head scanned. It said Rogaine.
I can't. No. But I'm sure you were still pilling girls like that, though.
I mean, I did okay. I could have done better because of, you know, I mean, if I would have just accepted, you know, all joking aside, it's like I think the hair isn't a big deal. It's how the male kind of deals with it. It's like the quicker I would have shaved my head, that's perceived as a confidence thing. But you know, being self-conscious is like, you know, there's procedures out there like to get hair implants and that kind of thing. And I don't know that I would get that either because it's like, I kind of like the bald look now. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I also save a lot on shampoo.
What about you, Alex?
Yeah. So funny story. I used to work, I was a video producer for a cosmetic plastic surgeon. And everything you guys are talking about was everything that I saw coming in. So I would basically make these educational videos for him. And we were set to start a reality show based on cosmetic surgeries. Right. And unfortunately, you know, COVID hit. But I saw all of this happening. I saw dudes coming in and asking for PRP, which is basically that, where they mix your blood with other things like hormones and they inject them in your head and your hair just regrows back. Yeah. I saw dudes coming in and doing their chiseled chins and other things like abs and muscles and all this stuff. But anyway.
Oh, wait, hold on. Abs, you can get abs?
You can get implants today. And we'll get into that. We're going to get into that later in the show. Yeah, but you can get implants. But for me, myself, what I saw was I'm a big dude. I'm 6'5", right? And I don't have a belly. I'm not fat or anything. I'm just a big dude, right? But I've always felt a little bit conscious about, you know, just a tiny fat, you know, around. I'm also, it's like a dad bod type of thing, you know, I'm a dad. So
okay. Like, yeah.
And I don't have love handles either like that, but I've always looked at myself and like, maybe I could get that sucked out, you know, and it's super flat. But then I'm like, leave it there, you know, because, you know,
bueno, I don't know, mira, para los gustos, los colores, I personally, this is going to sound trash, but para los gustos, los colores, I personally like my man to have a little tummy. I like a man that has a little tummy. I know that a lot of guys are out there working out, you know, in the gym. They're working out their abs. Go for it. If it makes you feel good, is whatever makes you happy. But I like a man that has a little tummy. Como que I feel como que you're a man. Como que, Entonces, I like the sound effect. You know what I'm saying? Lady. Oh. You know that sound effect? Yes. You need that tummy effect. So
it's so true.
Ladies,
says that.
If you agree, hey, hit me up at Exactly Amara and tell me about that tummy experience. But the truth is, there has been a rise in cosmetic surgery, especially due to social media and the standards that we see. We see so much pressure. That's how I feel. I feel there's a lot of pressure on social media for men and for women as well to have these perfect bodies that realistically you went and you paid for it. And then you're just in the gym taking like, you know, booty pics doing all that extra stuff. Do you feel that social media has put a lot of pressure on us in the way that we see each other's bodies?
I think so. I think social media, that's the one of the huge negatives. It's like it makes people second guess who they are and what they have. Is like sometimes people have great genetics and they look a certain way, right? Some people have different genetics and they look a certain way, but it's like to second guess and to feel some type of way about your body just because you look at somebody else is like the worst thing in life, period, is to compare yourself to somebody else. And I think social media facilitates this thing that we should not be doing, you know? And it's kind of a bummer. It really is, because it's like, you know, como estés, I mean, you know, you do what you can and you know, you live the lifestyle that you're able to. And if there's something you don't like, hopefully there's a change you can make. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I think, you know, kids nowadays are growing up with this thing, which I think before it was like, once you get to a certain age, you're like, I don't, you know, that's natural. I may not like this. I have this love handle. I have this. That's natural, I guess. But now kids are growing up with that. And I think that can be very toxic.
Especially also for the young girls. We see a lot of these, you know, babies, some niñas, that are looking up to what these new standards of beauty are based off, with all due respect. And I admire her hustle. I admire her growth based off, you know, the way that she started off her career. But let's just use a perfect example of like a Kim Kardashian, right? You have all these young girls or even urban artists that are now, quote unquote, the new trends. They are the new standard of beauty. And we're looking at your 10-year-old daughter or little sister looking up to, my body needs to look like this. My butt is not big enough. My lips are not big enough. I need to have bigger boobs. My waist is too big. I need to smaller. Es como que, like, I don't, and not for nothing. I too want to have, like, you know, I too want to have this perfect body, which it doesn't exist. I feel that women go through more pressure than men do. Now, from a man's perspective, do you as men, Alex, Jesus, do you guys feel that social media also gives a lot of pressure to men, or do you not feel as much pressure when you see these fine, you know, 10-pack men, extra buff? And does it give you any pressure? You're like, I don't know.
I mean, I think there's some pressure. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think that goes with, again, it's like, if you're busy enough to not pay attention to the social media stuff, you're like, I'm doing this, I'm working towards a goal. It's like, I think idle hands are yeah, that's where the devil's in the details right there. Yeah, I mean, it's like, if you're genuinely happy, I think you're not fazed by it. But it's like, I am guilty of looking these things online and like feeling some kind of pressure. It's like, oh, I got to go out there and run. And I got to, you know, have the six pack, the full set of hair, the cool, bright, you know, teeth, the this and that. And it's like, in all reality, it's like, I am who I am. And, you know, those things won't change who I am. I hope not. I mean, it's like, by me getting those things, you're not going to get this cooler version of me. It's like, I am who I am. And, you know, it's like, I treat people with respect.
What about you, Alex? Do you ever feel pressure from society or social media or anything like that to like be the finer?
Oh yeah, man. Like, I've grown up. I was always a fat, chubby little boy back in school. So, we didn't have social media, right? We had magazine covers and we're like, oh man, I want to look like that. So you kind of like always worked out or took fat burners back in the day, you know, stagger threes or whatever.
Oh my God.
You remember that? And now it's been multiplied by the fact that social media, you have these picture perfect bodies all the time everywhere. So for me, it was a challenge to understand, is that what healthy looks like? Right? So is that what healthy looks like? Because mentally it's not healthy for me to think like that, where I need to look like that in order to be healthy. Because I go to the doctor, I get all my tests done and I am perfectly okay. But I also see bodybuilders that are dying every single day from all types of crazy stuff. And I'm like, so if I'm not looking like that and I'm still healthy, I feel fine with myself. But I always tend to kind of like look at myself and be like, all right, maybe this needs, and this is the normal stuff, right? You need a little work here, you need a little work there, but you work towards that. You walk a little further on a certain day. You stop. You cut back on those French fries. You know, you don't eat the whole bag, just like a quarter of it.
Cut back
on
the French fries. Things like, oh hell no.
It's a vegetable, right? But those are the things that I think about, right? Vegetable. And I've lost about 50 pounds, just changing what I eat. Never even walking into the.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. I'm 6'5", so you don't see it. It's proportioned, right? But when I lost it, I was like, you could feel it.
On Exactly Amara, we'll have Alex diet.
Yeah, we'll do it up, man. Yeah. But yeah.
Here's a question for the both of you. I think beauty standards are often influenced by our upbringing. And the reason I say that is because I think our parents are the first people to kind of impose what beauty is. Yeah. It's like, and I'm speaking from my personal upbringing. It's like when I was growing up, I was very addicted to like pan dulce and that kind of thing. And my mom would always say, deja de comer eso porque te vas a poner bien gordo. And then, it's like years later, I was always a big kid. It's like, I remember I went from being a little, skinny kid to being big my whole life. And then my dad going, no te vas a encontrar una novia because you're that big. Deja de comer. Mira como comes. And they would impose these diets. And here's where I want to kind of open it up to you guys. It's like my mom at one point or another in my life had me on a diet, whatever diet they deemed. It's like un té de jengibre con ruda y miel de abeja y ajo, drink this in the morning para que adelgaces. And it's like putting a kid through that. It's like, sure. I think the behind it is well-intentioned, but it could really F you up in the head. Yeah, I mean? So it's like, I want to open up to you. Do you guys, did you guys have that thing growing up where these diets were imposed by our loved ones?
Well, in my case, yes. I remember growing up, I was really cute. I mean, I've always been cute, but I was really cute till a certain point in my life que I was going through depression because esa otra cosa. Sometimes your kids overeat, but you have to see the reasons why. Besides the fact that it's a cultural thing, that when you're chunky, that's when you're the cutest. And then if you're skinny, you have health issues, which is not true. I remember my mom would feed me so much. Y dije, ay, qué gordita, qué linda, que no sé qué, que lo otro. To the point that I got to weigh 230 pounds at 13. I was super overweight. And my mom would make me feel so terrible. That was her way of trying to make me lose weight. Pero tú sí estás gorda. Pero tú nunca vas a encontrar un novio. You're never going to find a boyfriend who's going to love you as fat as you are. Pero you look like a cow. Y esto lo otro. Or I would be hungry and people would offer me food. Don't give her any food. Si está re gorda. And I would just be, you don't know how traumatizing that was. And today I know that she meant well. She just did it wrong. That wasn't the way to go about it. So I did go through a lot of, diets. My mom had me go to the gym, esto y lo otro, I think that is very important. And I'm doing this now for, learning now for my own daughters, teaching them how to eat properly. In our culture, mucho sazón, a lot of grease, a lot of fried. Of course, I'm Dominican. Nosotros vamos a comer mangú, salami, and all the fried stuff. I get that part. We want to keep close to our culture, but we also want our kids to understand what they're eating, to keep a balance. So definitely, I already see that one of my babies is a little chunky. And my mom is like, no, que coma mucho. She's going to burn it off later. It's not about her eating a lot. It's about her eating the portion she's supposed to eat to be alive. Like, she doesn't have to eat everything in the plate. That's another thing. I don't know if you've ever been in one of these, but if you come from a Latino household, did your mom or your dad or your grandma or whatever ever do the thing where you're eating at the table and they're like, te lo comes todo, eat all of it, sé qué cosa, and they would just force you to eat. You're like, dude, I'm full. I don't even want it. Cómetelo. Those are bad eating habits. Alex, did you ever go through that?
Yeah, 100%. It was, if you want dessert, you got to finish everything that's in your plate. So you're overeating and then you're eating something else on top of that, So 100%, you were kind of forced in the Hispanic community, you're forced to eat everything that's in front of you, no matter what, right? And they would always guilt trip you, other kids don't have this stuff. You should be very lucky that you have all this food and you should finish it and all this stuff. So I think that was one of the main reasons I grew up with that. And like you mentioned, a lot of the foods, my dad was the cook in the house. So he didn't make bad things. I think as we grew up in the 90s, right, we had more of natural remedies to eat, like organic foods and stuff like that were normal. We were eating that. Now everything's genetically modified. Every single food is different, right? So that changes our bodies as well. So even though I was kind of eating everything and I was a little bit bigger than everyone else, the food was just a tad bit healthier back then, right? Now it's totally different. So I agree with you that it starts with that mental little seed that was planted as kids.
yes, it is true. Eating habits is a thing. Cultural issues is another thing. Society is another thing. There's so many other things. But as a woman, and being exactly Amara, I also know that women, come on, I know you agree. We as women, we get a lot of pressure more than boys, because boys is like, oh, get into sports and you can just sweat it off. But for the girls, we get more pressure earlier on in our lives to look attractive, presentable, than anybody else. As adults, we grow into that. And now in this society, we've grown into the same thing we're talking about, cosmetic surgeries, which is a trend. We see mothers that are paying for their daughters at 15. The quinceañeras, your new gift is new boobs, or we're going to fix your nose, or we're going to fix this, at like 15. You haven't even grown completely into your body. Do you guys like, I mean, I know that you do, but does it matter to you if the girl that you're attracted to has surgery or doesn't have surgery? Are you pro-surgery, against surgery? Because I know some men are like, I only like my women natural. Some say, no me importa. If you're fine, that's all that matters. Do you have any issues with these surgeries? When is there too much surgery? I mean, how do you look at surgery?
I want to be like mindful and specifically say that it's like, I think the thing here is not to shame anybody for their decisions. I do think there's a bigger thing here. It's like the root cause of the problem is often overlooked. So what we're seeing now is a cause of stuff that happened back then. It's like to go on what you said, Amara, it's cultural, it's this and that. It's like, I think we fall in love with a person. Like when you talk about like falling in love with a person or being with somebody, it's because of who they are and how they act. I think the outside is extra. There is a tipping point where surgeries are too much, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, my mom would say, hay un roto pa un descosido kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, it's like, there's somebody right. For somebody out there. So, yeah, I'm not against it. I mean, I think I like to vibe with the person. I'm not against it. But too much is too much personally, I think.
Yeah. I feel like perhaps, I understand sometimes you can't breathe right. So you go get your rhinoplasty and all that stuff to fix your nose. And while they're fixing it, you kind of beautify it. Right. I understand that sometimes you have things that might be wrong with your body. That's something that might have happened in the past. So you want to get that, quote unquote, cosmetically fixed. Right. And you go and do it. So I feel like there is a tipping point when you're kind of addicted to like having to look a certain way as opposed to doing it because, you want to just fix this and that. Right. Then it goes overboard. You start seeing people doing things that, adding things to themselves, which is what brings me to the thing, Amara. And I want to ask you this. How do you feel about men? And we spoke about this earlier, Jesus. How do you feel about men getting implants like abs, pecs, their calves, chiseled out jaws, because they'll get like those fillers in their jaws to make them look like Zac Efron, to make them look all super chiseled. How do you feel about that?
Until you have kids and then that DNA, okay, them genetics be coming through. Be like, okay. But I do understand, look, I don't have anything against plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery for men. I'm not crazy que, I want to get my pecs done. I want to get, 6-pack. I mean, if you want to get a lipo, I'm with the shits. If you want to get a lipo and you want to get a 6-pack, 8-pack
Botox
situation going on, dale. We can do it. I'm Botox. I'm cool with the Botox. Sometimes, papi, mira, we got to keep your face together. You're about to melt. We got to, keep it up. All right. We're just going to, te inyectamos un poquito de vaina and then your face is going to be good. We can do that. I'm not really against it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these, and let's get to ladies. Have you heard that men now are also getting, like I said before, fillers in their dingaling para que sea como que a little bit chunkier? There's some men, and there's nothing wrong with it. Let's talk about it, because look, women go through vaginal rejuvenation, reconstruction surgery, all these things. But why is it such a thing for men to talk about it? And I know that it's kind of la masculinidad del hombre to be like, I'm a man, So what? It's a body part. You may need a little assistance. So there's things for that now too. And I don't think men talk about it, as often. But they're doing that now too. Men go over there and they get all types of surgeries done. Se ponen su faja, they do their massages. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to look good. If you naturally are built a certain type of way, like your body is not what you visualize, because there's no wrong body. Your body is yours, is your temple is yours, is what God gave you. You got to work with it. But if it's not what you visualize, and for, $5,000 or $3,000 that they got a special, you can change it. Why not? I don't see nothing wrong with it. Te haces tu lipo, tu quija, tu Botox, la batata, arms, everything you want to do. I think it's cool.
That's so funny because you're like, oh, they have a special. It's like, I feel like with those things, let me pay full price. I don't want to I don't want but it's also very funny because you're like, if you want to look a certain way, I think we keep talking about this idea of like looking a certain way, but you get the six pack and you get the biceps to look a certain way. But when it's time to move, you're in with your lady and it's time is moving day and you got to lift those boxes and you can't lift those boxes. There's going to be some questions. And also the question of, do you disclose to your partner when you're dating that you had this? And the only reason I'm even saying this, there was a story years ago, I remember, that a couple went to court and I forgot who sued who.
Oh my God.
Do you remember this?
Yes, he did. He sued her.
Yes, because they once he looked at the babies, he's like, yo, like I got catfished. Yeah, I mean, this is a long play on a catfish because you look a certain way and you look at the kids. And I think he was able to notice on the teeth coming in that something was wrong. I forget what it was, but it's like there's also an ethical kind of question in place. Like you want to look a certain way. And I think somebody is signing up for something and they get something else. I think that feeling of getting duped is worthy of considering.
I think you got to be honest. You got to be honest. Listen, Bobby, mira, one day, and you don't have to say it from the rip. You don't have to say it from the beginning. Once you feel comfortable enough with this person that you feel like this is going to go somewhere, one day over coffee or at the house watching Netflix chill, babe, oh my God, look at this baby picture of me. And start slow. Start there. Oh, baby, look at this picture.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
this used to be me. And then
You're
work
right.
your way up to being like, when I was like in college or in my 20s, I got my nose done. I got my teeth done, my tits, my legs, my arms, my nose, my eyes, my hair. Like, just basically say you're a robot. And you got redone. And it's all good because guess what? That person liked who they met, who they see.
Boom.
And that's all that should matter. So, but here's another thing that I want to get into. And I know that we're getting really deep into this, but I love this conversation because we're not just making fun about certain situations or, taking it lightly, but we're also hitting certain points that are realistic and things we have to think about. For example, when you get cosmetic surgery, don't ever do it, while you're in a breakup or if you're trying to satisfy your partner or one of those things. Don't do it. You know why? Because you're going to regret it later. If you want to change something about yourself because you feel uncomfortable, you do that for you. Don't do it trying to please your girlfriend, trying to please your man. Nada de esa mierda. Because afterwards, they're still going to leave you and they're still going to cheat and they're still going to whatever. And then you're going to hate yourself for putting your body through that process, which we also have to talk about the fact that getting cosmetic surgery is not like just going to the grocery stores, de que me compré dos boletetas, and that's it. No, mommy, you're going, or for men as well, you're going through this is, not local. Well, some people do local, but it's anesthesia. You're touching organs. You're really going in there. I know, which I won't disclose who. There's an artist who's very well known. We work together. She was recently all over social media and whatever, and in the past too, and she went to do cosmetic surgery and things didn't turn out to be very good. Thank God she's alive. But, it could have been worse. So certain things, may have gotten punctured, etc. Some people come out alive from these things. Some other people don't. So you have to take this serious. It's not just a walk in the park, And another thing, people become addicted to these things. You start looking at all the things you consider to be imperfections. You start off, I'm just going to get my boobs done. Después esto, then this, my chest, my this. But when you really stop and realize, you don't even notice how your face completely changed. You don't even look like the same person. So surgeries can also be addictive if you have low self-esteem. If you're going through stuff, I think it's important for everyone that gets me. If I was a doctor, I would make sure that everybody goes to therapy at one point or make sure that you see a psychiatrist or something before you do this drastic change, because you can't come back from that.
It's too accessible now. I think these things are too accessible. And I think before, like our generation, it was like, I don't like this thing about me. It also, like on a quick side note, is like being the chubby kid or being the kid with the messed up teeth. It's like you develop these things around it, like these tools that later in life kind of help you. It builds this thick skin. And I think this solution, this way out to the problem that they may not like themselves, is too accessible to kids too early. And I think there should kind of be like a thing later in life is that you gotta, I think what you said, Amara, is insanely like awesome. And I think it needs to be common practice. There has to be some kind of evaluation mentally to see where the person is, because you don't want this thing to be out of hand. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you want it to be like they're making the decisions in a sound state of mind, and they're not doing it for other motives. I think it's that should be common practice, hands down, for any cosmetic surgery.
If you're ever planning on getting any surgery done, please let me know. I'm just curious. I want to follow up with any body transformations you are planning on doing. And honestly, I love the fact that, I have the opportunity of talking to men like yourself that are willing to be open and honest about, cosmetic surgery is really not that big of a taboo topic. And we should be all cool to talk about it like we talk about anything else. Which, by the way, if I want to check you out on social media, on your social media platform, and see what you're up to, where can I follow you?
At Jesus Trejo and the number 1 on Instagram, and the Jesus Trejo on TikTok, or just check out my website, jesustrejo.com.
Ya tú sabes. Alex, ven aquí. Any surgeries in plan for this new year?
I don't know, man. I'm thinking about adding a couple extra inches to my height. To your height.
I love it. Yo, guys, thank you so much for joining in today. De corazón. By the way, guys, you already know, hit me up on Exactly Amara on all my social media platforms and let me know, have you had any weird cosmetic surgery experience? Are you thinking of getting any? Do you know any stories? I want to hear all about it. And you already know, hit me up and give me my 5 stars because I deserve it. And this podcast is lit. Subscribe. You already know the routine. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Exactly Amara. I'll catch you guys next time. This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura podcast network. For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.